Welcome to the 16th round of WTSS Season 7. We're at the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. This track has played host to major stock car racing since the mid-1940s. Was a dirt track for the first 7 to 8 seasons it was operated, and then paved over in 1955, where it has stayed ever since. Patches of concrete and asphalt litter this 2 hairpin short track that some road course specialists say it's the best possible short track for their abilities. Alex Constantine put down an untouchable lap in qualifying, nearly going over a tenth quicker than the rest of the field. Arnie Nugroho, showing that road course drivers can perform at this track, puts it on the front row with him. Last week in Knoxville, we saw championship leader Ryan Reid and 5 other people in the top 6 in the championship all suffer some sort of a problem, but the one who prevailed on top and gained the biggest points is the 87 of Jeff McLennan, who finds himself qualifying 7th for today's race, the second highest of our major championship contenders. We entered Knoxville with only 2 drivers within 50 points of the point lead. Today we enter with 4 of them, and with this being a regular points race, all 4 of them have a shot at the championship lead exiting Martinsville. 200 laps around one of the hottest bull rings in the country. Let's get to the start. The pace car pulls in. Get ready for 200 laps of non-stop action. Around this half-a-mile short track, Martinsville is green and we're underway in the 16th round and the second half of WTSS Season 7. Constantine clears on the entry to turn 1, but is immediately under threat from Yuki Tamura on the exit of turn number 2, who gasses it up on the corner exit with better traction, goes down the inside, and Yuki Tamura denies Constantine even being able to lead the first lap here at Martinsville. She just got better traction on the exit of turn 2 and just was able to power it down and keep the inside on the quarter panel all the way to the braking zone. Finn guy comes through in second. One thing you're going to have to learn about Martinsville very quickly is that the outside lane is not where you want to be, and if you can't find an opening, say sayonara to whatever position you were just holding. Tamura leads ahead of Finn guy, McLennan, Stavanaugh, and Constantine tries to find a hole but overshoots its entry into the corner, and Bobby Frazier fills it quickly for the 5th position. Look at these Roush Racing Enterprise Campus cars, minus Ryan Reid, your championship leader, who had an outside starting position and is in trouble, and I think might even have slight rear end damage on that car, having been hit at one point. I think he has. And it might have been championship rival Sean Angel that did it. We'll have to go back and look when we get a chance.
Thankfully, damage is not going to be much of a factor in the short track.
No, not at all. The only damage that might affect you on a track like this is rearward damage that'll affect downforce. But in terms of the front of the car, straight line speed is not really a problem here. You're always accelerating, which means you never get a chance to actually use the aerodynamics of your car to gain speed. As we see Frazier down the inside. Figueroa in the 98, up in 9th place. As we see Frazier down the inside of Nugroho for the 5th position. And Jeff McLennan has climbed up into 3rd as Yuki Tamura tries to bolt away. Allison Figueroa way up the order already as Constantine tries to recover from being shuffled down the order, immediately back down the inside of the 45 in Nugroho. And yes, that is definitively some rear end damage on the 90 of Ryan Reid. And I would have to imagine, there only being one car behind him this entire race, that it was contact with Sean Angel. At the back of the field, we see a couple of heavy hitters here. Chanarong Wangzawat was putting down some competitive laps in qualifying, but has just not gotten the start and has dropped all the way to the back. Last week's winner at Knoxville, Tristian Wilhoit, back here on the bottom lane with Sean Angel and Ryan Reid directly in front of him. And 3 wide, right up the road almost, Chris Dodd, Fabio Vitabassa, and Huji Yan, your winner at Nazareth. So obviously some short track heavy hitters having trouble with the opening laps here at Martinsville. Figueroa takes 7th away from Nugroho as Tamura now leads by 1.5 seconds over Jeffrey Finguy. The gap continues to grow, and it's almost looking like Tamura has just as much speed as she did in her heat race at Knoxville. At least on the short run, she is absolutely out of here. but there are drivers trying to make it quickly up the order, including Bobby Frazier in the 96, who's got to the back of the 80 of Jake Stavanaugh right now. There's the championship contender, Shrimp Engritz. Had an absolutely heartbreaking loss before it could even get started at Knoxville. Blew the engine from pole position 25 laps into a 200-lap main event. Never got to see anything more. He led every lap of that race up to that point. Finished dead last. And the only solace was the 10 bonus points for the most laps led in a diamond double race. Jeff McLennan, the rookie, right now is the provisional points leader. Because of Ryan Reid's struggles on the opening few laps, the rookie finds himself in position to take the point lead, entering 23 back from Ryan Reid entering into this event. He's now up into the third position on a track type that has really spelled good speed for him this season, with his near miss of a victory at North Wilkesboro being part of that resume that he is slowly but surely building as the season progresses. Some drivers who had some subpar qualifying sessions starting to make their way up the order. William Duncan now trying to take 18th place from Mitchell Mark and soon 17th from Brandon Krasta, who seems to have had a good start. Oh, wow. Vita Bossa shuffling Elijah Innes up off the bottom back there. And man, like I said, a bunch of short track heavy hitters having trouble finding their feet in the opening few laps. Logan Hill, Tristan Wilhoit, Kyle Bichelia. And 3 wide on the exit of turn 4. Contact between Roberto Crown Jr. and Sean Angel as he barges his way past the 46, trying to make forward progress after an absolutely awful start for the championship contender and the man that comes in third in the points. Tamura's lap times have not wavered a single bit. She is still less than a 10th off of her best lap of the race, while everybody else, except Bobby Frazier, who just set a new best lap of the race, is starting to fall into the 10.5 to 2/10 range off of their best laps. Some even 3/10 off, like Alex Constantine, who seems to have had a really good firing off car, but is now starting to fade as this run hits the midpoint. And wouldn't you know it, of the 5 fastest drivers on the track, 3 of them are Roush Racing Enterprise cars, and I will continue to mention every single time on every short track this season. Roush Racing Enterprises are the team on short tracks in terms of their setups. On average, you're going to almost always get an amazing setup car. Frazier, as Stavanaugh misses the corner through 3 and 4, looks down the inside for 4th place on the 80. Your surprise winner at Iowa really has not had much pace outside of that weekend, but here in Martinsville, he's starting to look like he's just as competitive from that week. Not the rocket ship he had at Iowa, but as he fires it back down the inside again on the 80 car, Bobby Frazier making some really quick forward progress on the leaders. McLennan in the 87, now the next target for the 96. As Tamura has gapped almost to 3 seconds now out front of the field, and soon, in the next 15 to 10 laps, is going to have to encounter lap traffic and figure out how to deal with it herself. A bit of a train forming from 13th on back. Ryan Bolden had a great qualifying, especially for his team standards this season, but right now the pace has gone back to normal, it feels like, and he's really starting to back these cars up. But it feels like if somebody was much quicker than him, they would have already found a way through, and that just seems to be the struggle at the moment, is that a lot of the cars around him are also just not that quick. Frazier on the back of McLennan. McLennan makes a slight defensive shape down the back straightaway to try and keep him back on the back of the 87 through 3 and 4. Tamura has now brought the lead up to 3.3 seconds and is just absolutely blitzing everybody else behind her, as Mitchell Mark now catches Ryan Bolden in that 13th position to try and uproot the 7 car out of line, nearly gets into the left rear, traction race off of turn number 2. Bolden with the preferred line being slightly up on the lanes and keeps the position for now, but on the exit of 4, Mark gets alongside and will slip down the inside into turn 1 to make up that position, as William Duncan is also continuing to make his forward progress. He catches Aiden Shepard for 15th. Shepard scored an unlikely top 5 finish after starting on the back row of the grid at Knoxville. really looking strong these last couple weeks. And Ryan Reid has overtaken one of his title rivals, Sean Angel, on his way up the field. Currently now almost up. He is inside the top 30 now. And now, within the next lap or two, Yuki Tamura will have to start to encounter lap traffic, as we are now 1/8 of the way through here at Martinsville. This is now longer than Shrimp Engritz's engine lasted out front at Knoxville. And Duncan, on an absolute tear, is the fastest man on the racetrack, actually. 1/10 of a second quicker than Tamura last time by. Now we're really going to start to see cars that have the long run speed start to come in here. And I think for the entire field, if Yuki Tamura's car is also solid on a long run, that's going to be scary for everybody. DJ Curtis is going to be the first one to catch. Curtis's performances this season have been very yo-yo-y, up and down. He had a pole at Lime Rock, dominated the race, got caught up in a pit road collision, cost him the win. But on most weekends, if he isn't up in the top 5, he's nowhere. Was last in points for the first couple races this season, and it looks like last place is calling his name once more here at Martinsville so far. And Tamura catches the 54 car now as we start the 30th lap of 200 here. And she's going to have to be smart about this. Traffic is going to be a factor and is going to hold her up. Even that lap, when she had to check up through 3 and 4 behind the 54, she was still quicker than Jeffrey Finguy in second place. Meanwhile, back here, drivers like Mitchell Mark and William Duncan are making forward progress, but not as fast of forward progress as they were making. Ryan Reid now trying to get 28th from Logan Hill. Tamura down the inside, possibly on Curtis here. She is really being very patient. I think she has the option to be patient. With as big of a lead as she has, you don't want to make one mistake, send it too hard down the inside of a lapper and end up wiping yourself and the lap car out. And that could absolutely be what her mindset is coming into this traffic now. As Ray Takeda has now overtaken the struggling Ryan Bolden machine. Into turn 1 we go. Tamura on the lapper of DJ Curtis. Curtis tries to shut the door. He has every right to do so as the driver tail end of the lead lap. But nonetheless, he's unable to keep the 60 back any longer, and DJ Curtis goes a lap down as the first lapper of the day. Tamura gave up an entire second to make that as clean and as methodical as possible, but she's going to want to pick the pace up slightly. She already did that lap while passing. Ryan Reid is absolutely on one right now. After dropping all the way to dead last earlier on in the race, he's now up to 26, looking for 25th on last week's winner, Tristian Wilhoit. And now the back of the field. Yuki Tamura is about to lap Hu Ji-yeon. Ji-yeon has been really strong on the short tracks this season, but the struggles are here this weekend. And she's under pressure now to go a lap down less than a quarter of the way through here. And I don't even know if she's going to have a chance to fight it like Curtis did. Tamura noses underneath into turn 3. Tries to find a way through. Ji-yeon stays ahead for now. But like I said, Tamura's got all the time in the world. After clearing Curtis, she built the gap right back up to where it was before catching Curtis, as Bobby Frazier has just made a move on Jeff McLennan for that third position, and the forward progress continues for the 96 at the front of the field. Mitchell Mark to the back of Chris Louviere now for 12th place. His forward progress also continues. Slightly overcooks it into turns 3 and 4, but all over the back of the 83 nonetheless. Oh, and Bisceglia responds back to the 90 of Ryan Reid and stuffs it back down the inside of your point leader and takes the spot back for 24th. Tamura gets through on Ji-yeon. Now goes after Cale Teskar Jr. nearly 3 wide right in front of Tamura, as Dodd once again flirting with the idea of a third lane with Sean Angel and Roberto Crown Jr., funny enough, the same 3 as we saw last time. And McLennan has now fallen to Jake Stavinaugh. Stavinaugh up into 4th place. As this run builds on, we're really starting to see some drivers develop as long runners. Nugroho is one of them. He catches Figueroa for the 7th position. Gets into the back of the 98 on the exit at 2. No harm, no foul, no crash. Now Tamura is in the thick of the lap traffic. Has gotten through on Demax, has gotten through on Crown, and is now getting through on Voiles. But this is going to be the worst it's going to be all race for Tamura. This massive amount of traffic, having to clear car after car while still maintaining the gap to 2nd place. And it looks like she's successfully doing so far. An incredibly impressive display right now from her. As Stavinaugh cuts down the inside of Finguy, who's just lost 2nd to Bobby Frazier. And Frazier now finds himself in the 2nd position with Stavinaugh in 3rd. And now Frazier down the inside of Curtis to put him a lap down. Gets alongside on the exit of 4 and is going to sneak through as McLennan tried to sneak up the inside of Finguy and will do so, actually, barely, through 1 and 2. Important move for points there as Tamura continues to tick off the boxes one by one on the traffic. Very clean start to this race so far. This might be the furthest we've ever seen a green flag run start a Martinsville WTSS race. But it's not to say it's been without action. Car after car, pass after pass. And Reid gets back down to the bottom and immediately goes underneath Daniel Giroux in the 2 car. As Ryan Bolden is finally getting passed by some of the cars behind him. The 7 car continues to struggle and is about half a second slower than some of the faster cars on this track. Tamura catches Chris Dodd now in the 8. But Dodd catches Sean Angel napping through the middle of 3 and 4 and cuts underneath the championship contender. Angel, with possible front-end damage from an unknown contact with Ryan Reid early on in the race, is going to go a lap down. And a driver who really did not want to be struggling tonight goes a lap down. Same with Tristian Wilhoit in the 17. Of all the Maverick Motorsports drivers that was going to fall a lap down first, I was not expecting it to be him. Oh, what an aggressive send by Hu Ji-yeon to get down the inside of Sean Angel there before he could cover it off. And Ji-yeon actually, I think, just snuck down the inside of the race leader. Yes, she did. Hu Ji-yeon trying to unlap herself from race leader Yuki Tamura. Now this just got interesting, because that's the aspect that had not been mentioned yet, in that as the leader, the lap traffic is going to be fighting you to stay on the lead lap. And finally, someone was able to put up a fight and get back at race leader Yuki Tamura, as Hu Ji-yeon and Daniel Voiles has found a way through. Maybe even Wilhoit here, who continues to run the bottom underneath the 60. But I think Tamura might be able to find a hole here. Maybe not. Tamura can't close it in time as Wilhoit jams the brakes down the inside. And Tamura continues to try and find a hole down the inside, as Frazier has also been shuffled up at the top by a couple cars that have seen the weakness in the 60 car. And just like that, all of that traffic that Yuki Tamura had lapped almost all the way up to 30th place is getting their laps back right now, and it would be very timely for a caution for some of these people to be able to make the necessary adjustments to go quicker. Frazier sneaks down to the bottom lane. He's now going to be within a shot of taking the lead from Yuki Tamura as we've just passed the quarter mark of this race. Wangzawat down the inside of the 60. Tamura still unable to close the door. She has not been aggressive enough, in my opinion, to keep cars from filing down her inside into the corners, and as such, battle for the lead into turn number 1. Bobby Frazier leads at Martinsville. Frazier aggressively shuts the door on the 60 into turn 3, forces her to have to take an awkward line, and puts herself under pressure from the 4 of Eugene DeMax, and the cars just keep coming down the inside. Frazier now leads at Martinsville, and welcome to the fight, Jeff McLennan and company. Tamura, I don't know if the handling's gone away on that car or what, but she has been unable to slam the door shut on any of these lappers. And the only driver from the back of the field that is about to escape this pack of cars formed by Ryan Bolden as they go 3 wide behind him, Kyle Bisceglia, contact, Vito Bassa, into the side of Innes, into the side of Giroux, back and forth, batting across each other like ping pong balls, and somehow, some way we escape without an accident or any damage to those cars, and we stay green. Frazier now leading by 1.5 seconds over Tamura as the 60 finally tries to get down the racetrack, but it just doesn't look like that car's handle is still there, and Jeff McLennan attacks for second place, and his aim for a championship lead in the WTSS gets even larger as he takes the second position away from the pole sitter. Sorry, from the driver who was able to take it from pole sitter Alex Constantine in the early laps. William Duncan, though, in my opinion, is still the fastest car on the racetrack. He just got through on his own driver, Chris Louviere, for that 4th position, and the 66 continues to move forward as he's catching Alex Constantine, the pole sitter, for the 7th spot, as that 64 car looks like it was absolutely a qualifying setup and really has just settled into 7th place this entire run. And now McLennan dealing with the tribulations of there being a ton of traffic, all battling for position directly in front of him. And now he is under pressure from Allison Figueroa for the 2nd spot. Down the inside goes the 98. And Tamura under pressure from teammate Jake Stavinaugh. It's all popping off here at Martinsville. Tamura cuts back underneath Tess car to get back down to the inside lane, but she is struggling to keep that car on the bottom. And Frazier has just about cleared this entire pack, which by doing so puts him at a massive advantage to those behind as he gets underneath the 7 of Ryan Bolden. .6 seconds currently. Mitchell Mark finds it down the inside on Shrimp Angritz for the 9th position. Sneaks through as Duncan was unable to find his braking point for turn 1, slipped up the racetrack and nearly loses the position to Mark as well, but finds his way back down for 3 and 4. Figueroa now having to make the same traffic moves that race leader Bobby Frazier was able to successfully execute and is still successfully executing on the 64th lap of this race. 26 cars remain on the lead lap as we are approaching, not quite there yet, but approaching the halfway point of this race, still under green. We saw this at Knoxville. Extremely long green flag run to start the race without anybody suffering any sort of mechanical failures or tire issues or even a crash. And then we saw that mid-cycle yellow, that massive pileup down the back straightaway that shook the whole race up. Will we see something similar to that vein again, or will we have the rare, clean, short track pit cycle under green? Happened at Memphis. So it's not impossible. But when you've got a track where the pit exit is on the same straightaway as the pit entrance, it can get hairy with people transitioning out and into the pits. Always. Bisceglia, from the back of the field after a terrible start, climbed up into the top 20 5 and is soon to be in the top 20 if he can find a way past Logan Hill here. Down the inside of the 21. Do not keep the short track ace out of your sights today. Shuffling the 77 of Patrick Smith up the racetrack now is race leader Bobby Frazier, which puts only the top 25 on the lead lap. Jake Stavanaugh has fallen back from third place, and is now under pressure from teammate Yuki Tamura to get that spot back, and here comes Sebastian Van Dalen. For those who have been wondering where he's been at the last couple races, he looks like he's found his speed once again, and is starting to climb up the order today. And the 64 of Alex Constantine is reporting that the car is getting very tight with a vibration. And for his sake, hopefully, he can make it all the way to the green flag pit cycle and not affect his race. But that is going to be really tough on a track like Martinsville, where being tight is almost a death sentence for your actual pace. Tire fall off here is about a second in a full run. We're at about 7/10 right now, so we're getting kind of close to that need to come into pit. As William Duncan attacks Mitchell Mark for the 7th position now, down the inside at turn 1, on the turn 1 of Mitchell Mark. Side by side down the back straightaway. Makes it look easy down the inside, and the driver that I have still pegged to be the fastest man on the racetrack moves up into 7th. Bobby Frazier still has that entire group of lap cars cleared, and that is the advantage he has, even if he's not faster than Figueroa or McLennan, which I don't know true pace right now because he's still in that traffic. But even if he is faster than them, he has a massive advantage over how many cars are in between himself and the next car. He has not lapped anybody new since the top 25 were the only cars on the lead lap. But man, oh man, he's still maintaining that gap at the moment. By quite some margin, last place is still DJ Curtis. He showed little to no pace at Knoxville, and it just looks like these short tracks have just been a real tough time for this team. Leading rumor with Curtis is that his team is shutting down at the end of the season, and he may be looking for a job elsewhere. But we'll have to find out as the season progresses. And a massive engine failure for the 45 of Arnie Nugroho on the back straightaway, which will draw the first caution of the race here at Martinsville as race leader Bobby Frazier goes past the scene. Caution is out at Martinsville for Bobby Frazier. Arnie Nugroho out of the race after a really strong qualifying session. Not so strong in terms of the actual race pace, but he made his presence known nonetheless during the hot lapping portion of our weekend. And look at the gap you get when you have so much of a margin under green here at Martinsville. You can just enter the pits and not even be worried for a second that you're going to stay in the lead. Frazier comfortably comes out of the pits, still in the lead. Ooh. Oh, Fabio Vitabassa is probably going to have to get waved around the pace car here if he doesn't come out of the pits ahead of that pace car. Wow. Good job.
Just got it.
Elijah Innes was not as lucky. And so the one car is going to have to get some assistance coming to this next restart. You stay on the lead lap by the caution, you get to earn your lead lap. And so, as such, the one will get waved back around. But we're under caution here at Martinsville for Arnie Nugroho's massive engine failure. It's Frazier, Figueroa, McLennan, Tamura, and Stavinaugh, your top 5. Let's get to the restart. Doubled up for the restart. Pace car pulls back in. Bobby Frazier continues to lead with Alex Bignacco, the first lap down car, to his inside. We're back underway, and it's now going to be the game of which lead lapper can get down to the bottom first. Frazier might be the one to do it. Not quite. Dodd sends it down the inside. There's desperation amongst these lappers now, and blood in the water, sensing that they can get their lap back in case an early caution comes out on this restart. Frazier can't shut the door on Wilhoit either. These drivers are sending it extremely aggressively on the lead lappers here. Everybody's kept it clean so far on the restart. Alex Bignacco, Chris Dodd, and now Tristian Wilhoit earning their lead lap positions back from the leader. I think I see Yuki Tamura trying to stuff it back down the inside to get ahead of the 77 of Patrick Smith, and does so. She's the first lead lapper to find her way down the inside. McLennan might be soon to follow if he can get down into 3 right now. He tries to. He hesitated a bit trying to close the door. Tamura gets alongside. Is she going to stay alongside into 1? She stuffs the nose in there, forces the 87 to lift off the gas a bit. Frazier, though, has successfully fended off the traffic behind, or successfully gotten in front of the traffic, or has he? Down the inside goes Daniel Giroux. Side by side for second place, Tamura and Figueroa. And now Tamura is going to be down the inside for the lead, possibly on Frazier here. Off at turn number 2. The 96 clears. Can he hold it on the bottom into 3? Still trying to find his way down into the corner. Down the inside for the lead goes Yuki Tamura to try to get it back for the first time since the opening laps. And for the first time since the first quarter of the race, Yuki Tamura leads at Martinsville. Jeff McLennan down the inside for second place now as Frazier continues to struggle to find a way down the racetrack. The top 4 have broken away, with Jake Stavinaugh in 5th as the caution flag is back out at Martinsville just as they were starting to get back into a rhythm. And Yuki Tamura is now your leader under this yellow. And damage to the 26 of Cale Teskar Jr., who was already a lap down. He's now the last car running on the racetrack and will likely fall a second lap down as they go in to fix damage on that 26 car. But multiple cars able to earn their laps back, including Alex Bignacco, Tristian Wilhoit, Chris Dodd, and Ryan Reid, the championship leader, crucially getting back onto the lead lap. Yuki Tamura leads Jeff McLennan, Bobby Frazier, Allison Figueroa, and Jake Stavinaugh, your top 5. Let's go back and see what happened to Cale Teskar Jr. to bring out the second caution of the day at Martinsville. So you can see Pachelia fires it down the inside of both Teskar and Angritz, makes it 3 wide into turn 1. The contact continues. Pachelia gets away so far. A clip with Alex Constantine forces Pachelia back into Teskar and Angritz, and both cars suffer pretty moderate damage with a massive impact to the outside wall in turns 1 and 2. And thus, Shrimp Angritz having no luck these last 3 races. The bad luck continues for one of your early title contenders, and Teskar Jr. could not find a way out of that situation without a crash, and he falls to the last car running on the racetrack. But it is Yuki Tamura leading Jeff McLennan, Bobby Frazier, Allison Figueroa, and Jake Stavinaugh, your top 5. Let's get to the restart. Pace cars back in. Yuki Tamura the leader. On the outside of Mitchell Carter. Can the 60 car get down to the bottom quicker than Bobby Fraser was able to on the last restart? We'll find out. We're back underway at Martinsville on lap 94. You can see Carter able to fire it down the inside and keep that track position for the time being. And unexpectedly, Daniel Drew almost just gave up the bottom to Hu Ji-yeon. Couldn't quite get down the inside of the 2 car, and so she'll have to settle back in line, but none of our top 3 have been able to find a gap to get down to the bottom. The first one in line that has found the bottom lane so far is all the way back here with Aiden Shepard in 10th. Off of turn 4 we go. Tamura might have a gap in between Giroux and Hu Ji-yeon. Not quite. Trying to fill that hole. The 49 fires it down the inside. The Season 2 champ will unlap herself now. And some of the early struggles from some of these big names appear to be getting bailed out so far in the early restarts of this race. Sean Angel trying to join that list of people, but he's unable to keep the momentum on the exit of turn 2. And Yuki Tamura successfully finds her way back down to the inside lane at Martinsville and keeps the lead of the race. Hu Ji-yeon clears Giroux now for position and goes after Mitchell Carter now because she's trying to get away from the leader, who she knows is the fastest car out there right now at the moment. Fraser's gotten down to the bottom in second. Underneath Jeff McLennan for the second position and gets it. Up to fourth is Figueroa. Aiden Shepard, who was one of the early drivers to find a way down the inside in 10th, is now up into the top 5 past Jake Stavanaugh. And Chris Louviere, looking for his first non-Speedway top 10 of the season, or his second non-Speedway top 10 of the season, at here at Martinsville. Mark Nutt in the mix after a rough night in Knoxville. And some drivers have just not found their way down to the bottom, including guys like William Duncan and Kyle Bichelia, as well as Alex Constantine. Very hard to do so in a big pack of traffic. Tamura still just ahead of Sean Angel here, but she's just given up another lap to Roberto Crown Jr. in the 46 and might give it up to Sean Angel now. The traffic is being incredibly aggressive with the leaders because they know that if they can just stick it down the inside, they've got a shot at getting their lap back. Down the inside goes Sean Angel now in the 58. Angel fires away through on the 60. Can Tamura shut the door at least to keep the race lead? She's going to try. Into the corner she goes. Yes, she will. Yuki Tamura maintains the lead, but only just over Jeff McLennan. As we're just past halfway here at Martinsville now. 102 laps complete of 200. Tamura misses the braking point into turn 1. McLennan runs along the inside of the grass, fires it down the inside, and the man who comes in second in the championship today finds himself in the lead of the race with less than 100 laps to go. And now suddenly, the goals of exiting this race, the point leader, seem realistic for Jeff McLennan, but only if Ryan Reid can stop making forward progress. He's already up from 27th place at the moment of caution, and he's up into 12th, chasing the 11th placed car of Fabio Vitabassa. Ryan Reid is on one right now, and he's not done yet. Down the inside of Vitabassa for 11th place. Maybe those point lead ambitions might need another week for Jeff McLennan. Even if he wins this race, with the position that Reid is in right now, he would not be the point leader. And now, his goal? Find a way back through all the traffic that just got their laps back without losing the lead yourself. Reid on Takeda now for 10th place. Man, big mover right now from this restart. Championship leader for a reason, Ryan Reid is. Down the inside on Chanarong Wongsaw. That's not for position, but the forward progress continues for the point leader. Oh! Contact! Eugene DeMax puts the bumper to the race leader, Jeff McLennan, to get his lap back. And just like that, he's been shuffled off the bottom, and Yuki Tamura gets back alongside for the race lead. Like I said, this track invites aggression, even from the lap traffic, because they know if they can find it down the inside, they've got the line, they've got the corner, and whatever position or lap they're trying to get. McLennan trying to keep Figueroa back now. He may not even be the lead rookie come the end of this next lap. Figueroa keeps her nose along the left rear of Jeff McLennan, stays on the inside, and it looks all she wrote into turn 3 as huge send into turn 3 for Figueroa to get right up to the bumper of race leader Yuki Tamura now. And you can see off in the distance the two damaged cars of Teskar and Engritz fighting for track position, nearly a second off the pace per lap. As Tamura clears Sean Angel to put him back a lap down. That's exactly what Ryan Reid would want to see and hear from his spotter. Figueroa finds a way down the inside of Angel now, through the middle of 1 and 2. Can't quite, actually. Angel shuts the door aggressively mid-corner as he goes to aim back after the 60. Angel unable to find a way through that time. But into turn 3, missing the bottom is the 60. Angel puts it right up to the bumper. Tamura keeps the lead for now and keeps the 58 of Angel one lap down. But it's not over yet. Figueroa keeping close quarters. The top 3 under a second apart. Battle for position up ahead has turned into a navigation of traffic themselves. The lappers are having to find a way through on Cale Teskar Jr. I said aerodynamic damage is not going to play much of a factor here at Martinsville, but I didn't say it won't play a factor. No straightaway speed for the 26 as Tamura gets absolutely hounded by Sean Angel when she has to check up due to the slowing 26 car. Jeff McLennan fires it down the inside and in one lap goes from 3rd to 1st to take the lead back at Martinsville. Crucially gets down the inside of the 26 at Teskar. And that's going to hurt Figueroa if she can't find a way down. She won't be able to this straightaway. DeMax does, though. And that almost puts them 3 wide with Hu Ji-yeon. But she thinks better of it. Caution back out on the racetrack. Crash down the front straightaway for DJ Curtis. And coming back to the yellow we go. Sean Angel fighting Jeff McLennan all the way to the line to stay on the lead lap, and does so. Angel gets his lap back, as does Mitchell Carter. And Shrimp Engritz crucially also stays on the lead lap, but looks like massive damage for DJ Curtis in the 54 as he comes straight into the pits, even though the pits are not open for lap down cars. And McLennan, even though we haven't had very many laps since the restart, straight into the pits. We might see some split strategies here. Or we'll just end up seeing every single lead lapper coming in. Here they all come. I see a damage repair report for Scott Roush. So it might have been contact between DJ Curtis and Scott Roush. We'll have to find out after the pit cycle when we get a chance to look at replays. Everybody makes it out of the pits cleanly without incident. Yuki Tamura leads Jeff McLennan, Allison Figueroa, Jake Stavinaugh, and Bobby Frazier the top 5. Let's go find out what happened between DJ Curtis and possibly Scott Roush to bring out the 3rd caution of the day here at Martinsville. So we see Curtis coming into turn 3 here, up the racetrack. Bisceglia also finds himself up the racetrack, and on the exit just gets into the left rear of the 54, and nowhere to go for Scott Roush. What an avoidance from championship leader Ryan Reid. Missed that one by millimeters, and that could ultimately end up protecting his championship lead come the end of this race. But a tough break for both DJ Curtis and Scott Roush after Kyle Bisceglia chose to not lift on the corner exit. But it is still Yuki Tamura who got the lead from Jeff McLennan on the pit cycle. And it's Tamura, McLennan, Figueroa, Stavinaugh, and Frazier, the top 5. Let's get back to the restart. Pace car pulls back in. It's going to be a restart on lap 123 out of 200. We're back underway, and the wounded machines of Scott Roush and DJ Curtis just don't get going, and the top 2 of Tamura and McLennan easily clear both of them on the run down the front straightaway to turn 1. This is a huge opportunity for some of these lead lappers to get some early real estate in front of the rest of them, to get clear of the traffic and not have to keep dealing with them. Figueroa and Roush pretty evenly matched with the 2 differentials between the 2 lanes. But the top 2 of Tamura and McLennan get away easily. Roush keeping his nose on the inside curb, trying to stay within a shout of the leaders in case something were to happen. Figueroa sneaks past. And now Curtis finds himself on the bottom lane right now in that 54, which is not going to make these lead lappers' lives any easier. But the moment he gets shuffled up to the top, it's going to be panic for some of these lead lappers to get down to the bottom as quick as possible. Tamura looks just as fast as she did in the opening laps, and is trying to gap away from the 87 of McLennan, but he is really driving hard to keep up with her. Jeffrey Fingeist found his way up into 6th position now as he sneaks underneath the DJ Curtis machine. And we have a crash in turn number 3. Big pileup at the back of the field. Shrimp Engrets with massive damage. Sebastian Van Dalen, Cale Teskar Jr. Multiple others involved. We'll have to go back and look at it. But cautions breed cautions on short tracks. And another one has come out here at Martinsville. Yuki Tamura takes the caution. I don't see any major people coming to the pits as we just all had fresh tires. So it's Tamura, the leader, ahead of McLennan, Figueroa, Stavinaugh, and I believe 5th place is still Bobby Frazier. Let's go back to see what happened to bring out the 4th caution of the day here at Martinsville. And you can see on the exit at turn number 2, Teskar clears up, trying to move out of the way of the 63 at Cresta, right into Mark Nutt. Huge contact with Patrick Smith, and as the field was checking up into turn 3, people were slamming on the brakes. Some people didn't react in time, and Sebastian Van Dalen and the already wounded Shrimp Engrets suffer even more damage on their cars in reaction to said accident. And just an unfortunate situation for all involved, with Teskar just trying to stay out of the way, being the last car running on the racetrack. Yuki Tamura continues to lead at Martinsville ahead of Jeff McLennan, Allison Figueroa, Jake Stavinaugh, and Bobby Frazier, the top 5. Let's get back to the restart. Under the caution, while we were sorting out the running order, Logan Hill suffered a catastrophic engine failure, which is likely to be unfixable. He's in the pits, and after running top 15 all day, it is race over for the 11 car after a strong showing. Meanwhile, the 59 of Shrimp Engrets, you can see in the background, continuing to get some repairs as they retire the 11 car of Logan Hill from the race. Tamura continues to lead McLennan, Figueroa, Stavinaugh, and Frazier. Now let's get to the restart. Pace car is off. Tamura continues to lead on the restart. The wounded Scott Roush machine is still on the inside lane, so it's still going to feed an opportunity for some of these leaders to get away on this restart from the traffic. And Tamura and McLennan once again clear into turn number 1 to get ahead. Roush tries to move up the racetrack to stay out of the way, but he's ultimately put himself vulnerable and in the way of many of the lead lappers on that high line. And this is going to cause absolute chaos with some of these guys as Figueroa sneaks down the inside of the 6th car, but forces herself 3 wide as Hujian did not want to lift. Chris Louvier inside on Frazier and Stavina off of turn number 2. Contact is made. Louvier gets into Frazier, spinning him into turn 3, right up into Scott Roush, hard into the outside wall for Bobby Frazier. Allison Figueroa spins as well. The caution is back out at Martinsville after a crazy spin into turn 3 after contact from Chris Louvier and Bobby Frazier. Tamura takes the caution flag once more. I don't know if anybody else got involved in that. We're gonna have to go check it out. But it is Yuki Tamura continuing to lead at Martinsville. Let's go back and look at a replay to see what happened there here at Martinsville. So we saw Louvier stuff it down the inside 3 wide in all the chaos, gets into the left rear and never lets off with the 96 of Bobby Frazier, who goes flying back up the track into lapper Scott Roush and collateral damages the 98 of Allison Figueroa. But it looks like every other car in the field managed to sneak through and avoid that one. But an absolute accident that did not need to happen from an over-aggressive move from Chris Louvier has brought out a massive crash in turn number 3 as Yuki Tamura still leads ahead of Jeff McLennan, Jake Stavinaugh, Jeffrey Finguy, and Chris Louvier. Let's get back to the restart. Pace car back in once more. Can we get a clean restart? Yuki Tamura continues to lead, but now without heavily wounded cars on the inside lane, but a bad restart from Eugene DeMax on the inside lane allows Yuki Tamura to clear into the lead into turn 1, and without an immediate caution, that is going to be an unbelievable advantage for that 60 car to just get clear of the traffic without any worries. Jeffrey Finguy immediately sneaks to the bottom with Chris Louvier. The 54 of DJ Curtis is playing a part in this on the inside lane, struggling. Ryan Reid has found the top 10. The championship leader moving up quick, but he's going to have to face that 54 here shortly. And he's not going to like it unless the 54 can get shuffled up the track right in front of Alex Constantine. And that's a tough break for the 64. As Sean Angel, I believe, just got a restart penalty in the 58. Oh, unfortunate for him. And another title contender with problems today. Reid able to sneak through. Constantine able to immediately find a way underneath the 54 of Curtis at least. But Yuki Tamura leads Jeff McLennan, who's able to get down pretty early and only has 2 lapped cars in between himself and Tamura. Ryan Bolden looks quick. They've made some adjustments on that car, and he might be strong enough to come up and unlap himself here shortly. Caution, back out on the racetrack immediately. Spin down the front straightaway from Sebastian Van Dalen, who has even more damage on his car, and Ray Takeda from the looks of it. Kyle Bisceglia with damage. James Gibson, Mitchell Carter. Looks like it was more than just a couple cars involved. And we are back under caution here at Martinsville. Yuki Tamura continuing to lead, but how much longer can she keep doing this successfully without losing it? Tamura leads ahead of McLennan, Stavinaugh, Finguy, and Louvier, the top 5. Let's go back and see what happened to bring out the 5th caution of the day here at Martinsville. So we see into turn 3, big send from the wounded 81 of Sebastian Van Dalen, forces them 3 wide, squeezes up into the side of Kyle Bisceglia, and just, oh man, nothing. Whoa, 81 almost tips over there. Nothing Bisceglia or Takeda could do, nor Carter. And it actually looks like Gibson got away with that relatively scot-free. But just an unfortunate accident that did not need to happen once again has been the trend of this race. And we're back under caution at Martinsville with Yuki Tamura continuing to be the leader. Let's get back to the yet another restart. Ryan Bolden in the 7 is reporting an oil leak just as we're heading to the restart. The pace car is in, but get ready for some absolute pandemonium down the back straightaway if this 7 chooses to pit on the restart. Back underway, Tamura is able to clear the 7 into turn number 1 as she has done with every lap car to her inside so far. She's not going to have to fight it very hard, even though Bolden gets down the inside here off of turn number 2. The 7 comes into the pits, and actually everybody behaves themselves. Bolden to the pits, and unfortunately will not have a chance to get back onto the lead lap. Tamura continues to lead at Martinsville as the rest of the lead lappers fight to get down to the bottom. Bisceglia and Van Dalen have still not finished their damage repairs from the previous accident and are back into the pits as well. I'll have to keep an eye on those two, especially when they come out of the pits. Could get interesting. Test car trying to make it 3 wide with Voiles and Frazier. Doesn't end up doing it, but there's contact on the front straightaway, and William Duncan has gone around in the 66, which will bring out yet another caution here at Martinsville, and we're racing back to the caution. Tamura continues to lead. Second place is still Jeff McLennan. Third is Stavanaugh. Figueroa's fought her way back to fourth, and you think you can get away from him, but you just can't. Ryan Reid is fifth. So caution back out again. You saw it live with William Duncan getting turned down the front straightaway. We didn't quite get a full picture of it, so we'll have to go back and check it out. Tamura leads. McLennan, Stavanaugh, Figueroa, and Reid, your top 5. Let's go back and see what happened to bring out the 7th caution of the day here at Martinsville. You can see they head into turn number 3 here, and Duncan, while trying to make a move down the inside of teammate Tristian Wilhoit, Gibson sends it 3, goes up and squeezes the 66 on the corner exit up into the left front of his own teammate, forcing the 2 Mavericks to crash together down the front straightaway, with Duncan getting away with the worst damage of the 2. Nothing more than that. Simply just a misjudgment from Gibson on whether or not they were 2 or 3 wide, and it's resulted in 2 teammates getting damaged in it. Caution back out at Martinsville. Tamura continues to lead. Let's get back to the restart. Pace car pulls back in, but Tamura's got some serious competition on her hands on that inside lane with Hujian. Can she still get a good enough restart to clear the traffic? We're back underway at Martinsville, and it appears it's at least a strong enough one to try. Down the inside into turn 1. Hujian keeps her nose in, though, and finally, for the first time in almost 50 laps, Yuki Tamura's got some competition when it comes to keeping lap cars behind. And Hujian sets out to try and get back onto the lead lap for the first time since the first quarter of this race, as we've now entered the final quarter of this race with less than 50 to go. Tamura leads ahead of McLennan as she continues to struggle to find a way down the inside. Who's our first lead lapper who's managed to get down there? It's Chris Louviere back in 6th place. Everybody keeping it clean back here so far. 3 wide on the exit of turn 4. I might have spoken too soon. DJ Curtis getting cleared as Alex Constantine threaded the needle between DJ Curtis and Jeffrey Finguy, but it all ended up fine in the end. Those really slow Curtis and Roush cars are struggling and causing a lot of crazy moments in the midfield as people try to make rash decisions. Jeff McLennan might have found a way in, nor he hasn't. What a send from Chanarong Wongsuat down the inside. These lappers are so aggressive because they know they can put up a fight to get back onto the lead lapper on a track like this. Up to 3rd goes Ryan Reid. From dead last with contact on the opening lap from Sean Angel to 3rd place and trying to catch the leaders now. Tamura has gotten down to the bottom in front of Wongsuat. McLennan's found a way down as well, and so the top 3 all have a place on the bottom lane with just over 40 laps to go. A cross start finish this time. Ryan Reid is making sure that Jeff McLennan cannot deny him of this championship lead. In fact, he might extend the championship lead at this rate with McLennan just up the road. Into turn 3 we go. Tamura now with an almost 2nd lead over Jeff McLennan. Wongsuat got back through to get back on the lead lap. But Tamura, not phased in the slightest, has gone down the inside of DeMax to put him back a lap down. And it looks like Ryan Reid has been shuffled off the bottom by Allison Figueroa, who's climbed back up to 3rd from her incident earlier in turn 3. Alex Constantine back on the offensive. Down the inside on both Stavanaugh and Aiden Shepard now into turns 1 and 2. As Mark Nutt cracks the top 5, up to 4th now, past Ryan Reid through 1 and 2. McLennan continuing to make inroads on that inside lane. Almost won North Wilkesboro earlier this season. Came painfully close to a podium at Road America. And now, here at Martinsville, he finds himself in the second position, but he's going to have to clear Daniel Giroux and, of course, race leader Yuki Tamura to get that position. 35 laps to go at Martinsville. This is the longest green flag run we've seen since the first caution. Field finally starting to spread out a bit. Second, actually, this is the longest green flag run we've seen since the first caution. And the run after that one. Tamura still the leader. McLennan eyeing up Daniel Giroux to put him a lap down and have nobody in between himself and his main rival. The driver that the leaders are going to have to worry about is the 26 of Cale Teskar Jr., who is a second off the pace, having been involved in multiple incidents so far today. The next one he'll have to worry about is Scott Roush, and then DJ Curtis, probably. Tamura gets down the inside of Wongzawat now to put the 08 back a lap down. That 60 car is fast. And soon, Hu Jian might be back under pressure from the race leader. Jeffrey Finguy is cracked back into the top 5, but he's majorly under pressure from Alex Constantine now, who shuffles up the racetrack, though, and forces himself to be vulnerable to the 42 of Aiden Shepard for 6th place. Sean Angel trying to unlap himself from Allison Figueroa and gets down the inside just in time. McLennan finds a way down the inside of Wongzawat, following Giroux through. As you can see, Teskar up ahead at the end of the front straightaway. 30 laps to go at Martinsville. McLennan has never won a WTSS race, but he's going to have to go through one of the best to do it. Tamura has been on a bit of a slump the last couple seasons. The absolute highs of her early career have faded a bit, and victory lane has been a long time since for her. Tamura scoring 5 victories in her rookie season, back in Season 5. The season finale of Season 5 was her most recent. And now, with less than 30 laps to go, she's already fought for multiple victories this season, none of which have worked out in the end, but this is the strongest looking one yet. They catch the 26 of Teskar. Tamura makes sure she has 0 chance of not getting down the inside of him into turn 1, fires it past Hu Jian, who was unable to get ahead in time, and Tamura clears one of the major obstacles left to clear in this race. McLennan also importantly finds a way down the inside before Chanarong Wongzawat. Next up are the DJ Curtis and Scott Roush cars. Tough break for Bobby Fraser. After that contact earlier, he's just had no speed. That damage affecting him majorly. And after battling for the lead early on, staying on the lead lap is the only goal he's got left in this race. 25 laps to go. We're in the final 8th of this race distance, and Yuki Tamura is starting to stretch her legs out with no more traffic ahead other than the slow cars that she needs to find a way through that are wounded. Tamura unable to get down the inside into turn 1, but maintains a decent enough gap down the back straightaway to not find a way down the inside in time. Curtis getting in the way. Hu Jian tries to find a way down the inside into 1 before Tamura can go around the outside, and does so. Giroux gangs up on the race leader, as does Wongzawat. Almost up into the outside wall on the exit of turn 2 is Jeff McLennan, but he manages to stay off of it. Tamura sneaks down the inside of Curtis anyways, maintains the lead, with Hu Jian and Daniel Giroux back on the lead lap, but only just briefly because Giroux is now back under pressure from the race leader. It's like a multi-class race. The lead lappers and the lap down cars fighting like it's for position. Ryan Reid is back up to 4th and gaining quick on Allison Figueroa for 3rd. They're going to catch Scott Roush in the next few laps. He's not as off the pace as the rest of these guys, but he is still much slower. Roberto Crown Jr. making himself a nuisance of Jeff McLennan. The second place driver trying to keep some of these guys behind is a little bit difficult. Allison Figueroa now has Ryan Reid all over the back bumper of her car. And the championship leader with another unbelievably strong performance in the face of adversity. Major damage on the rear end of that car after multiple contacts throughout the race. But he has not slowed him down in the slightest. Mark Nutt rounds out the top 5 still, as McLennan continues to barely stay ahead of Roberto Crown Jr. to keep him a lap down. Giroux and Hujian are gapping away from Yuki Tamura, the race leader, but now as they continue to fight, they're slowing each other down. Tamura sneaks back down the inside of Giroux to try and put him back a lap down. Getting alongside through 1 and 2. Crown Jr. trying to do the same to McLennan to try and go back after getting back on the lead lap, but is unable to do so. Tamura gets underneath the 2 of Giroux, finds a way through that time. Crown on McLennan. Lapped car versus lead lapper. There's the Scott Roush machine. Holds up Hujian just long enough for Tamura to sneak down the inside. Laps the number 6 car, and once again, clean air out front of the 60. It's going to be 15 laps to go it's going to be 15 laps to go right now, actually. Coming to 14. And I wonder, will they catch test car again before the end of this one? Engine problem for Chris Dodd on the front straightaway. And the Season 5 champion is limping around turns 1 and 2 to get back to the pits without causing a yellow. And a great start to the season just continues to turn into a nightmare for the former champion. He comes to the pits, race over, just 13 laps from the end after running up in 12th. So unfortunate. Massive amount of lapped cars now in between Tamura and McLennan. And without a caution, actually even with a caution, I don't know if it could stop her. Ryan Reid is 3rd. If Ryan Reid passes Jeff McLennan and extends his point lead somehow after the day he's had, that would be a miracle. Honestly. And test car will play a factor in this race before it's all said and done. Maybe even Curtis once more. Coming to 10 laps to go this time. We've almost hit the point of no return for Yuki Tamura. McLennan gets back around Roberto Crown Jr. Sets his sights after the leader, Yuki Tamura. But is it too little too late? As Gibson, Test Car, and Frazier continue to be the cars that the leaders can only see out their windshield off the corners. Especially Test Car. Alex Constantine has recovered back to a top 5. Your pole sitter hasn't led a lap all day, but he might come home with a 4th place finish, maybe even 3rd if Ryan Reid is possible. Down the front straightaway, there's the wounded Cale Teskar Jr. machine just ahead of Yuki Tamura. She's going to hope that she can catch him at the best possible moment and easily breeze past on the straightaway. But that may not be a realistic option, as we're coming to 6 laps to go this time, which will mark the final moment in which a caution can still end in a restart. There it is. Tamura now has hit the point of no return and is stuck behind test car at least for an entire set of corners. Unable to find a way through down the straightaway, she just couldn't get the traction down and ultimately hemorrhages a bit of time behind the 26 at test car. I'm not sure if she feels like that she can take her time and try to be careful with it or not, but at this point I really wouldn't test that with the way that these cars have been flying past on the inside. She finally senses it's go time after giving these guys just a taste of hope behind her. I almost wonder if that was her taunting the cars behind her. As a Roberto Crown Jr. right in front of the point leader, Ryan Reid has a mechanical failure into turn number 1 with a massive tire problem. And from 3rd place, championship leader Ryan Reid crashes into the corner. And off of turn 4, she's going to take the caution. Yuki Tamura is going to win the race at Martinsville. Oh my goodness. Ryan Reid was en route to maintain a massive championship lead advantage, still exiting Martinsville with minimal losses to Jeff McLennan. And right in front of him, Roberto Crown Jr. shredded a tire and has put him down to 11th. It's still not an absolute day ender for the 90, but that is a loss of significant championship points for Ryan Reid, and maybe even the point lead. We'll have to double check our facts after the race is over. But the caution will end this race, the 8th one of the day. We had a long green flag run to the finish, but ultimately, the tire failure for Roberto Crown Jr. will end the day early for all the drivers involved in this race. Running order will be Yuki Tamura, the leader and winner, Jeff McLennan in 2nd. 3rd place, Alex Constantine. 4th, Allison Figueroa. Then Mark Nutt, Aiden Shepard, Jake Stavanaugh, Chris Louviere, Mitchell Carter, and Jeffrey Finguy, your top 10. Ryan Reid, Scott Roush, somehow Daniel Voiles, Jake Stevens, Fabio Vitabasa, and William Duncan, your top 15. Then it's Mitchell Mark, Elijah Innes, Tristan Wilhoit, Alex Bignacco, Ray Taka to the top 20, James Gibson 21st, and Bobby Frazier 22nd will be your lead lap. Down the back straightaway for the last time, under caution behind the pace car, Yuki Tamura comes through 3 and 4. 5 victories in her rookie season is the only marks on her stat sheet that show checkered flags. That will change today. In her first season for Roush Racing Enterprises, she's going to score the victory at Martinsville Speedway and wins the first race of the second half of WTSS Season 7. And oh boy, what a victory it will be. The Roush Racing Enterprise cars score another short track victory, and Yuki Tamura comes out on top as the winner. Jeff McLennan, once again the bridesmaid on a short track race, will come home in 2nd. Alex Constantine avoided that chaos at the end. And Yuki Tamura prevails victorious at the Martinsville Speedway. Nobody else was able to stop her. The rest of the running order from 23rd on back is as follows, with Chris Dodd, Sebastian Van Dalen, Kyle Bichelia, Shrimp Engritz, Logan Hill, Patrick Smith, and Arnie Nugroho, the drivers who never saw the checkered flag. But no one could deny the 60 of Yuki Tamura since she took the lead on lap number 1. Congratulations to Yuki Tamura, your winner here at Martinsville. We'll see you next race for one of the last short track events of the season at Myrtle Beach.